Good morning, students. Let's begin with chapter number 2 of Hornbill. And this chapter is written by two authors, Gordon Cook and Alan East. You'll be surprised as we look at the title of the chapter, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. Because there are two things mentioned here. Somebody is not afraid of death, which normally people are. And the second thing, the person says that I'm not afraid of death if we can all be together. So these two things are considered to be a very bold statement, and you will be astonished to see that this statement was made by a 6-year-old boy. So how does this whole story, I'll give you a summary of the whole story. The story is of a captain, his wife and two children who wanted to follow the footsteps of Captain James Cook. Captain James Cook was the person who went on round the world voyage through a boat, and this family also wanted to copy that journey. This man, the captain who is called in the story, he was a businessman, and he accompanied with his wife Mary and two children, Jonathan, the 6-year-old boy, and Suzanne, 7-year-old girl. They started this journey, but before that they practiced for 16 years. Then they started the journey. In between, they took the help of two crewmen, that is Larry and Vigil, and they kept on continuing with the journey. It was bad luck that they met with two storms, one on January 2 and later one on January 5 and 6. And this is where they were struggling hard to survive, and they did whatever they could in order to save themselves, but they were there in the southern Indian Ocean, which is one of the remote corner of the world, and it is here they knew that they were not able to contact anybody around the world, and they were afraid of death. And then this dialogue came from Jonathan, who is a 6-year-old boy. The captain worked hard, and he was able to, towards the last, save the boat and save their lives also, although they could not complete their journey. But victory was not just in completing the journey. Victory here was in saving their lives, and they were able to save their lives. So you'll read in this whole chapter how they faced an adventure. It will not be an adventure, they faced a danger, but still they were able to survive. They kept on struggling hard, but none of them lost hope. The most important portion of this chapter is optimism, which we say the glass half full attitude or the positive attitude of our life. See, there are two visions of looking at life. We say when the glass is half full, a glass which is half full of water, we see the positive side. Then we say optimistic view of life. But if we say no, the glass is half empty, this is which view of life? Negative or the pessimistic view of life. But here you'll find all the characters in this story were full of optimism, and this is the basis of this chapter. Plus, with this chapter, you'll know how human beings, with their optimism, survive, how they fight hard, and how towards the last they are able to escape death. So let's begin with this chapter. The first paragraph describes something about the captain, his wife, his children, and how they kept on working hard. The second paragraph describes their boat, and then begins the journey. So let's see the first paragraph. In July 1976, that means they started their journey in July 1976, my wife Mary, my is here the captain, wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6-year-old, daughter Suzanne, 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England. They began their journey from Plymouth, England. They'll complete round the world voyage and come back to the same place. Then their journey would be called a complete journey. To duplicate the round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer. It was their dream. They wanted to copy this famous explorer. And for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time, free time, all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills. This is a very beautiful expression, honing, sharpening. Seafaring, traveling by sea. So here the complete expression means that for 16 years they kept on sharpening their skills which could help them in traveling through sea. Now this expression is a very beautiful expression which can be used elsewhere also. Like if I say that I wanted to write a book, but before that I kept on sharpening my skills, then in that case I can use the expression I kept on honing my writing skills. So this word can be used, this expression can be used elsewhere also. Then, all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. Now, let us see their boat. Our boat Waywalker, a 23-meter, the length of the boat, 30 ton, the weight of the boat, wooden hulled beauty. Wooden hulled, that means the base of the boat was made of wood, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. Did they test the boat? Yes, the roughest weather where they could find. They took their boat there and they found that the boat proved out to be a very strong boat. Now let's see the beginning of the journey. The the first part. The first leg of our planned 3-year 1,05,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. That means they started from Plymouth, England, they reached Cape Town. Till then the journey was very pleasant. Now they had to face Indian Ocean, and Indian Ocean is believed to be one of the world's roughest ocean. So they took the help of 2 crewmen. Let us see who they were. There, before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Sigler, to help us tackle one of the world's roughest seas, the southern Indian Ocean. On our second day out of Cape Town, students, was this family a far-sighted family? Yes, they, because of the far-sightedness, they took the help of 2 crewmen because they knew they would require help now. So it proved to be good also because just the second day out of Cape Town, there were huge and strong waves. So let us see it. On the second day out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales, strong winds. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming. What worried them? Yes, of course, if there is sea, waves would be there. But the size of the waves was alarming, and see, up to 15 meters as high as our main mast. You know, mast is the central pole of the ship to which the sail of the ship is attached, and it is the highest portion of the ship, and the waves were up to that particular height, up to 15 meters, and that could create a big problem, because if they are struck with the wave comes and strikes them, then the problem would come. If they keep on riding on the wave, then there will be no problem. Then December 25 found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite atrocious weather, atrocious, a very wicked, very unfavorable weather. Despite atrocious weather, one more thing, as I keep on teaching, I'll tell you some words also which you can use. Like this word you can use, despite atrocious weather. If I can say despite atrocious conditions, atrocious means very adverse conditions, I became successful. So you can use this word elsewhere also. So because at the same time when you study English, you need to enhance your vocabulary also. So we have done one word earlier, honing our seafaring skills, honing our skills, and one word you're getting here, atrocious, that is wicked. Then, despite atrocious weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with the Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change. Because as New Year came, they were full with hope. They said, okay, the weather would change. And it did change for the worse. The weather changed, but it became all the more worse. Then, let us see this particular portion, what happened on January 2, because that was the day when the storm came. But they realized that the storm was about to come. They made certain preparations. So the coming portion on this page is describing what preparations they made and what happened when the storm came. So let us see it. At dawn on January 2, the waves were gigantic. We were sailing with gigantic, you understand, they were very huge, like a giant. We were sailing with only a small storm jib. Now storm jib, you must know, I said there is a main pole to the ship, that is called the mast. To the mast the sail is attached. Now the sails move and the ship moves because of the direction of the wind. Now this sails can control also, and it can help you to go into the direction also where you wish to. But if the wind is too strong, then people usually bring the sail down and they raise a storm jib which helps them to sustain at one place. Along with this, the anchor also helps the ship to remain at one place. So they knew if they'll hoist the sail, the sail will become too much with air and with wind, and because of that wind and the storm, they'll be taken into another direction, and that too with the direction of the wind. Now to stop this, they raised the storm jib. So let us see what happened. We were sailing with only one storm small jib and were still making 8 knots. Knots is the speed of the ship. Then, as the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous seas rolling towards us, and the screaming of the wind and the spray was painful to the ears. You can understand it was very tough because the storm was very strong. Then, to slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib. They had raised the jib, they brought the storm jib. Now, this is their preparation. So, see the preparation. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. The stern is the front part of the ship. So, from the front part of the ship, they lashed a mooring rope on both sides of the ship also. So, because of this, what will happen? The ship would kept intact, and plus at the same time, all the things that are inside, they will be stopped from moving out or dropping overboard. Now, this word is important. On board is when we are on the ship or the plane. Overboard is when we are outside it. So in this case, on board means when you are on the ship, and overboard when you are thrown outside in the sea. Then a loop across the stern. Then we double lashed everything, went through our life raft drill. Students, what is this life raft drill? Raft is used for boat, drill is used for an exercise. What was their exercise? To save themselves. First thing, they wore the oilskins. Oilskins, it's like a diving jacket sort of thing, like diving suit. They wear a complete suit, they wore those oilskins. Then they wore life jackets, and then they wore a belt around them, and to that belt they attached a lifeline. What is this lifeline? Lifeline is a strong rope which is attached to the boat. And good morning, students. So we were discussing about the lifeline. A lifeline is a rope which attaches us to the boat. Like we have a belt, and to that belt that rope is attached, and this rope is attached to the boat. Like by chance if we are thrown overboard, then in that case we are still attached to the boat until the boat does not sink. We can still remain sturdy there, and we can climb on the boat. If we see the boat sinking, we can detach ourselves. So this is how it's called a lifeline. It is helping you. So now they attached the lifelines, they wore oilskins and life jackets and waited. Waited for what? Waited for the storm to come. Now what happened when the storm came? The first indication of the impending disaster. Very good word again, impending. Impending, something that's about to come in the near future. And what was the disaster that was about to come? The storm. The first indication of the impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. A word again, ominous. Ominous, something that is very ugly. And that ugly silence, like people say, no, before the storm comes and after the storm goes, there is a silence. And that silence in the beginning is very ugly because people know something is about to come. So this word can be used elsewhere also, like people wear leather jackets and all that. So this particular task is called ominous by some people. They say it's so ugly. How can you wear animal skin or use animal skins? So this is the word how it's used. At about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence, everything became silent. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Then came a growing roar, and an enormous cloud towered aft of the ship. A growing roar came, and a cloud came upon the ship. Now the captain thought it was a cloud, but was it a cloud? Just see. With horror I realized that it was not a cloud, but a wave like no other I had ever seen. It appeared perfectly vertical just on their top, and almost twice the height of the other waves. See, the other waves was about 15 and it's about twice the height of the other waves, and with a frightful breaking crest. Crest is the front part of this particular wave. And now they understood that if this particular wave comes and strikes the boat, then they would sink. But for their luck, stern moved a little bit up. Stern is the front part of the ship. If this front part moves up, then it might happen that they would be able to ride this particular wave. But see what happened? The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. What happened was this wave came and struck the boat. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. my head smashed into the wheel. You can understand, he was there with the steering wheel, and you understand if there is a sudden jerk in the vehicle that we are driving, of course we'll move in the front. So here the same thing happened. It was just moving. It was not just moving. His head smashed into the steering wheel, and I was aware of flying overboard. He was thrown out of the boat, but we know that he is attached to the lifeline. Then, and sinking below the waves, I accepted my approaching death, and as I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. It is here that I am ending toward today's session. Now let's have a quick revision of what we have done today. The first part is the introduction. Who is this captain, wife, two children Mary, and why did they take this journey? They wanted to follow the footsteps of Captain James Cook and wanted to go for the round the world voyage. What was their preparation? 16 years they kept on working, practicing, honing their seafaring skills. Then the second paragraph describes about their boat. The third paragraph describes the first part of their journey. The third paragraph also tells why they took two crewmen with them. Then we come to the next part is when they left Cape Town and they entered southern Indian Ocean, what did they face? Atrocious weather, huge waves and strong winds and strong gales. Then description of the storm on January 2. But before that, what preparation did they make? They brought the sail down, then they brought the storm jib down, then they lashed everything, then they double lashed everything, then they went through the life raft drill, they wore life jackets, they wore the oil skins, and they attached lifelines and waited for the storm to come. What happened before the storm? There was a sudden ominous silence, then there was a growing roar, and what they thought it was a cloud, it was a huge wave, and that wave came and struck the boat. What happened when the wave struck the boat? The captain's head was smashed into the steering wheel. He was thrown outside, although he was attached with the lifeline, and then he accepted his approaching death. This is where we are ending today's session. The next session will begin with this. I am sending you the notes also after this particular video. Just copy down those notes in your copy, and at the same time do the chapter nicely, because after this you will have to appear for a test. So all the questions that we have done today, I am sending you in the form of notes also. Thank you.